Hi everyone, this is Sam from Tern Heads, the online platform supporting more students into the creative industries. I'm here today with Lee Matthew Jackson. He's founder of 2 tech agencies and runs a weekly podcast for agencies and developers. He also runs a worldwide community of over 3,500 engaged fans as well. So, hi Lee, nice to see you.
Hi, I wouldn't call them fans because that kind of sounds weird, but yes, there's a lot of them.
Well, they've joined for a reason, so
True.
you know. So I thought it'd be really cool today to talk about self-promotion. Obviously, the world is a little bit upside down at the moment. A lot of students will be graduating, going into their third years, wondering what to do over the summer to kind of get a little bit ahead, you know, what they can be actively doing for their careers at this moment in time. So I thought we'd start going through maybe your journey, how you, whether you went to uni, when you left, what you did, how you kind of started off, a little bit about your agencies as well, then go into a little bit more about internships, apprenticeships, and then kind of top tips, do's and don'ts, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So
Brilliant.
over to you.
Sure. Well, I'll start with your first bit then, which was a little bit about me. So
Yeah.
I didn't stay in university. I'm actually one of those people who learns by doing. Therefore, an internship is pretty much the perfect scenario for myself where I can get in somewhere and learn what to do on the job. So I'm getting real world experience. I'm not the sort of person that can be sat and taught from a textbook because I just retain approximately zero. So a little bit about me then. So quick background is, yes, we run 2 agencies. One is called Angle Crown, which is a white label WordPress development company. And then the other one is called Event Engine, which is a platform for event organizers to be able to run their events online. And we've recently, due to the current events, pivoted a little bit, offering digital venues. So that's allowing physical events to get online and do their event online while still trying to get the same or similar outcomes they were aiming for from the physical. So it's very much an outcome driven event. Over the years, I've pretty much accidentally built businesses, which has been wonderful, and they've both been super successful and nearly been catastrophic failures. So it's kind of like that. If you're watching on video, it's a really zigzaggy chart. It's been a complete roller coaster running my own agency, but it's also been the most fun times of my life. For myself, I didn't do university, but what I did do was I recognized I wasn't going to be able to necessarily. I thought I wanted to get into IT at first because that paid well. So the only way I could get in there was by becoming an IT intern. So I actually went into the IT industry with 0 qualifications other than I knew how to build a computer with Windows 98 on it. And the rest was taught to me. And I worked my way up in that company. And then over several companies, I was finally the IT manager, and realizing that I had this massive itch to scratch, which was creativity. I had spent the entire process on the side and when no one was looking, building websites or designing stuff for creating games. So clearly I was not in the industry I was meant to be. I was simply doing what I thought I had to. That's my first top tip, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, if you're looking at your career, don't do what you think you have to, because that's going to be the thing that you think will pay the money. Sure, IT paid me a lot of money, but I'm a hell of a lot better off now for 2 reasons. Number one, I'm happy. Number two, I'm also better off financially at doing what I love, which is perfect. So that's kind of been my initial journey. I came to a point as IT manager where I was just so freaking bored. You know, I was no longer allowed to go and do the IT stuff, which was kind of interesting because I now had to manage teams, etc. And I was just miserable and unhappy, and eventually just had to pull the plug and say, no, I'm done. I'm going to go launch an agency. And thankfully, at that very time, a couple of guys from an existing design to print agency were struggling with how they were going to shift online. So how were they going to become a digital agency? So I'm like, hey, hello, I'm a digital guy with 0 experience of business. Will you welcome me in? And they did. They welcomed me in. I became a shareholder of the business, eventually became one of the directors, and the rest is pretty much history for that company, where we grew that from a predominantly print to becoming a digital product-based business, which is Event Engine, as you see today, is that digital product that came from that over the kind of history over many, many years. So that's kind of been my journey into what I do. I'll just kind of wrap up this section with what's also happened, which I believe is one of the things you want to talk about later, that behind me you'll see Agency Trailblazer, and that's a brand which I kind of spearhead. I'm the face of the brand, and I've kind of become a mini brand in my own right with a beard and a hat and the hoodies. It's too hot for hoodies right now, but a very large audience has been grown by me showing up once a week on a podcast for the last 5 years. And like you said, there's a very large Facebook community. There's an even larger listener community out there of thousands of people around the world. And it's a very surreal and weird experience, but it has afforded me some of the most amazing opportunities to work with some of the biggest companies I'd never even dreamed of working with.
So do you actually now take on interns and apprenticeships yourself then at
Yeah,
your agencies?
absolutely. So
yeah.
we are actually looking for our next intern probably at the end of this year now. So we've still got a gap where we're still finishing off a whole lot of projects, and then we'll probably be looking on take on our next apprentice in the upcoming year. So we took on, for example, about, again, 5 years ago maybe now, Larissa, who was our apprentice back then. So she came on age 17 with zero experience, but she was obviously really willing to learn. And I say zero experience. She'd played around. She'd been learning a few things at school on what she could be doing with regards to online development, etc. But very, very limited. She could just do the basics, make a basic blog, and show that she had the ability to research, and she showed that she had the ability to learn just by looking at some of the examples that she gave in her CV. So I interviewed her. I asked the all-important question, Marvel or DC. She correctly responded Marvel, which is fantastic. So she got the job pretty much based on that. And also the fact that I got a good vibe from her, that I knew that she was somebody who was interested. Because when I said, do you know much about the company? She was like, yeah. And then she just splurged out a whole load of stuff about our business. I'm like, she's done the research.
Yeah.
So that's top tip, do the research. So I knew she'd researched. She then started asking me loads of questions. Another tip, ask loads of questions. She asked loads of questions about how we do stuff and how this, that and the other works. And I was like, she really wants to learn. This is phenomenal. So she came in, and within a few short months, she was already building websites from zero, which is amazing. She actually came in on the first day with a book on HTML that she'd bought herself that had loads of bookmarks and notes in. And I was just like, yes, she's still here. She's one of our lead developers. She manages other people within this company now, which is phenomenal. She's just left to have a baby. She's got a cute little baby girl who's 3 months already. And then Larissa will be coming back again, and then she'll be helping me as we onboard the next apprentice, etc., and do it all over again. And that's kind of our pattern. And we really believe as an agency, and I think a lot of agencies believe the same thing, that it's actually really important to get somebody with the right character and the passion and the energy in, rather than the expert. Because the expert will come with a lot of baggage and preconceived ideas. And I think I shared with you, did I share with you? I did. I shared with you on the podcast that we did together how we had been in a rush, and we had the choice between bringing on an intern or getting someone in fast, and it cost us thousands of pounds, A, to get that person in from the recruitment company, B, it cost us thousands of pounds because the person came in with a massive attitude, and it also cost us thousands of pounds because they ended up not really doing all of the work, and then they disappeared after a few months. So it was an awful experience, as opposed to the beautiful experience of onboarding Larissa and seeing her grow, and seeing how loyal she is as well to our company, because she's helped build it to where it is, because she's felt a part of that, and we want to do that all over again with our next apprentice.
Yeah, that's great, because I think it really kind of demonstrates, it's almost like you're not just looking for a doer. Mm-hmm. You're looking for a thinker. It's like, you know, there's things you can teach, and there's things that you can't teach at the end of the day. So I know from our sort of agency perspective, it's definitely when someone walks through the door, you know if they're going to in your team or not. You know, a portfolio is great, but if you have the wrong attitude, and you know, it's just not going to work, basically. So yeah, that's really interesting, that it's almost like, you know, you're saying about you know, you didn't have any experience, and she didn't have any experience, so you know, there's more to it than that at the end of the day. Yeah,
that's not to rule out the importance of university, etc. So I have since gone back and taught myself, but also done courses, etc., to upskill, because I'm kind of the upside down learner, where I need to do a few things first, get the right interest for it, then I can actually get into it. So I imagine a lot of the people who are consuming your content already have the interest and have already invested time in university, which I kind of wish I'd been able to do. So I actually envy you if you are in that position, and then you can then kind of hit the ground running in an agency somewhere.
Yeah, I guess it's just those different avenues, isn't it, of kind of how you can express yourself and how you can express your skill set, in order to advance into your career. So I mean, so in terms of what you look for then in an intern and in interviews and things like that, I mean, it's obviously a mix of the two, but I guess what would your tips be then for people who are starting to think about approaching companies, you know, how to present themselves, how to reach out, basically, how to actually start that content?
Sure. Well, I think there's a few things you can be doing, and I guess it depends as to which part of the journey. So I imagine there are people in year 1 and in year 3 consuming Tern Heads content. So the people in year 1 might not necessarily be thinking quite yet about applying, I presume. Okay, so let's start with year 1 and then we'll get right through to year 3. But right now, if you're in year 1, if you're in the early days, what you probably want to start doing is creating lots and lots of content over the next year or so. So as you learn stuff, as you experience stuff, put that out in blog form or in video form or in podcast form. But what you're doing is you're showing up as you, and you're showing yourself as a thinker, as a thought leader, as somebody who really cares and is really passionate. Because if you show up to a potential interview with a catalog of content that you've built over the years, showing your passions, showing your personality, that is going to work way better than any sort of CV. And we actually send a link to our podcast for every big proposal that we have. We get a proposal in. It's the same sort of thing. We'll get a proposal into this company, and I'll say, hey, before we work together, if you want to get a little bit of a flavor for who we are, check out the podcast. You know, because there it is. There's 300 episodes of content of me being an idiot. So if you like that, then you'll get that. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's great. That's a great calling card, and I think that it will be very, very powerful for people who are looking to get into agencies or get a job, because it's showing that you have an interest, you have a passion, and you have a voice, and those are very, very attractive attributes for any employer. You want somebody who is passionate, who is confident, etc. So I would say start working on that at least in year 1 and year 2. You can even start doing it in year 3 if you've not been. It's just a really good creative outlet, and it's something that's yours and you will take with you wherever you go. So for example, I'm branding up Lee Matthew Jackson as the brand, which then transcends any business I'm a part of, because I'm responsible for multiple brands, and it's actually quite hard sometimes to manage them all. Whereas if I can be there at the top, the brand Lee Jackson, then people can just go off on any avenue they need to with me. So if you create that content, that's not stuff that your future employers will ever own. That's always a part of you. That's your legacy and something that you can build up, and you can continue to build up through the years, which means perhaps in the future, if you need to pivot, you've got something that you can fall back on. Now, when it comes to the actual interviews, etc., then yes, be able to, or even applying, get in touch and say, look for businesses you actually want to be a part of. Then when you message them, tell them why you want to be a part of their business. What is it about what they do that really, really appeals to you? And perhaps if you can, send them links to your, is it Dribble?
Yeah.
Yeah. It always seems wrong if I say that, but yeah, that account, or your portfolios, or your websites, or whatever you've got that might illustrate your experiences and say, hey, look, this is the sort of stuff I work on. I would love to be a part of what you do because I really believe in your mission. I have a passion for X, Y, Z. I would love to learn more from you guys. You're clearly butter them up a little bit, I guess, is nice. But, showing them that you're interested in being a part of their business, being a part of their mission, being a team player and learning from them. That I would say is very important. And then equally, when you then come into the interview, if they're actually, you get that far, Larissa did all the right things. She asked all the questions. She'd already done the research, etc. So she was asking deep questions that were beyond questions I was expecting from an interview, which made her stand out from everybody else. Everyone else was asking how many holidays they would get and what the pay was. She wasn't interested in all that. She was interested in, what was the plan for the podcast? Are we launching a YouTube channel? Are we doing a what? So, and coming up with ideas. So, having those conversations, asking those probing questions, but equally showing that you've done your research. And again, one of the most effective ways, I think, we do this in sales as well, is speak their language back to them. So as you become immersed in whatever online content they have, speak that back to them, speak in their language. And like I said, we do that with clients. Larissa was doing that with me as well, because you could tell she had listened to the podcast, because she had mentioned that she loves how I've got this passion for helping people love what they do and fall in love with their business. And she mentioned it off the cuff during a conversation. I was just like, yeah, this is great. I kept it cool, obviously. You know, I didn't want to look keen, but I'd already made my mind up halfway through the interview that this was going to be the girl for the job.
Yeah, that's really cool. So she was already demonstrating,
Yeah.
you know, how she's going to fit in your company, what she's going to be able to bring to your business at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And she's nowadays, she's not even doing what she originally came in to do. She still does build websites, but a lot of the time she's actually helping me with strategy. She's helping me with content. She's helping me with design. She came in as a developer. She's now become a designer because I've freed her up to do and to pursue the passions that she believes she has, you know. So she's now designing stuff as well. She's doing catalogs. We launched an event last year, so she's doing branding for the event last year. She was doing all the branding again for the event this year, just before she left for maternity leave, and cracking out some amazing content because we've just given her that freedom, because we recognized in her that there is a bundle of energy and an excitement and somebody who's really bought into our mission. So if I can free her up as much as I can to have that freedom, I know she's going to blossom and come up with more crazy cool ideas, which she does.
In terms of do's and don'ts, are there any kind of definitely don'ts? Anything you kind of experienced personally while you were kind of...
Don't not be yourself.
No? Yeah.
Seriously. So I've shown up to many interviews being fakely because I think I have to be professional and all of that other stuff. And then they have a shock when I actually get the job and I join the company because I'm clearly not like that person. Don't be fake, be yourself, because if you've got to play a character for the next few years, it's just awful. So it sounds so cliche, doesn't it? Be yourself.
It is true. It's true, though.
But it's so freaking true.
Yeah.
Be yourself. Don't be an idiot. Don't be immature and all that sort of stuff like you would with your mates. You know, I get that. You can still be professional, but being relaxed and still having humor and still being interested in stuff and all that. You don't, you know, but be your engaged self rather than the professional, whatever you think they're looking for. Because when you turn up somewhere not as yourself, you will potentially attract people who you're not going to vibe with anyway, if that makes sense. If they like the fake you, you're probably not going to like them. And we find that in business. So for myself, I used to show up in a suit and tie, and I've got old videos of me going, if you're a design agency who great quality design, but you get stuck with your code, look no further. And I'm there in a suit. I'm not even moving my arms because I'm trying to be Mr. Super Professional. And we attracted businesses that were, you know, quite hoity-toity, super professional, miserable emails, rude, arrogant, always chasing us for stuff, because I was attracting that sort of clientele because I was showing up in a manner that they were appealed to, whatever the words are. Whereas as I show up now, and I mean, I have a conversation with my clients just like I'm doing with you right now in this room with this hat on, sometimes a hoodie, a lot of the times a hoodie, because it hides the lockdown fat. But you know, showing up as myself, I'm attracting people who just like to have fun, and they all have a shared mission, and they know I freaking well care, and I'm going to do my damn best. So show up as yourself, because otherwise you're going to get stuck in a job you hate.
Okay, great. Well, yeah, thanks so much for those little tips, and hopefully that will help quite a few people kind of wondering what to do next and give them something to think about, especially as we're coming out of the lockdown, while they've maybe got a bit of free time until they start their next level of education.
I would ask then if they do spend some time listening to the Agency Trailblazer podcast, because if they're looking to get into agency life, there's nothing better than listening to a podcast like ours, because that will help you understand what's important to agency owners. For example, lead generation, niching and understanding who it is you serve, and all those sorts of really important topics, because you can repurpose that for yourself. For when you show up to these potential jobs, and equally you're showing a level of understanding of how agencies work and what's important to them, and that will also help you know, you be attractive to potential employers, etc. So I know it's another shameless plug, but I really do believe it.
Yeah, no, amazing. No, and I'll put all the details in the comments below. Are there any other ways that people can contact you if
you
they want
can so come to agencytrailblazer.com, there's that way, or alternatively you can, what's the best other way, you can always pop on to Angled Crown, which is our corporate site, have a look around, and if you have questions like you know, how do I show up, or could you look at this CV or whatever it is, I'm happy to help as well. I mean, obviously, I'll rock up into your community as well. But yeah, if you do want to send something personal and private, it's lee@angledcrown.com, or just visit the website.
Perfect. Oh, well, thank you so much.
It's okay. I've spent this entire show just watching your little guy in the back, waiting for him to blink.
That
would have been so cool. I know.
Like passed out in the background. No.
That's such a cool plant.
Oh, brilliant. Okay. So yeah, if you like this content, then please do subscribe. And if you want any other points covered, any other kind of talking points brought up, then please comment below. And yeah, thanks for joining us.
And that's a wrap.